Hi, everybody. This is Crypto Rich working with you to get rich with crypto. This is a brief prologue to the interview that I'm about to do, which is about a very, very exciting project. Now, a couple of things I want to let you know. You do got to hold on. And I'll tell you why. There were some points during the interview where we lost Wi-Fi signal, so there were bits where it dropped out. So I apologize for that. And then the other thing is that this project that we're going to be talking about, one of the largest airline companies in Europe, is already involved with this project. Also, you may have heard of a particular software company called Microsoft. They're also involved with this project. So do check this out, do subscribe, do comment, do like, and all that other business, and enjoy. Thank you. Want to get more Bitcoin? Well, one way to get more Bitcoin is by mining, and you can mine with elevategroup.io. They're in Irkutsk, so they have really cheap electricity. You can buy the miners online, and these are the miners that are currently available at the time of recording. You can track their progress, see what they're doing, your miners are doing through the Awesome Miner dashboard, and that way everything is transparent. They publish the profits and the costs and everything publicly on the Telegram group. I do invite you to go check it out, join the Telegram group, and this might be something that you want to take up. Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. I have with me Jacobo Toll-Messia. I hope I've said his name right. He is the CEO of Hubii Network, and we'll be talking about an IEO that's just launched. Now, before I introduce him, I want to let you know this is not investment advice. Do your own due diligence. Don't invest any more than you can afford to lose. And all I'm doing in this video and all my other videos is sharing with you what I'm discovering as I travel along on the blockchain. And here I am in southern England, and Jacobo, you are somewhere further north and colder.
Just about. I'm in Bergen, Norway.
Norway. Okay, very good, very good. Well, listen, thank you so much for making yourself available. We're going to be talking about Nahmii and a teeny weeny bit about Hubii.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a little bit about yourself, please?
Of course. So I'm Jacobo Toll-Messia. I'm originally come from Spain. I left Spain 21 years ago. I lived in the UK. My background is in software engineering. So I was working in as a consultant in London for many years, and I happened to move to Norway 15 years ago. Ended up working in the oil and gas industry. And about 12 years ago, we started with Hubii. We originally did a content aggregation business. We had a fair amount of success. We were providing service to 50 million users a day. And we learned a lot about the pain points of the content industry. And we looked into blockchain about 3 years ago, approximately. And
right.
One thing led to the other. And then we ended up building this product called Nahmii, which we can talk about today.
Okay. And is Hubii still going? Doing
Yes,
the content aggregation?
The content aggregation right now is stopped, is paused.
Say that again. The content creation is now paused?
Yes. So the last 20 months, we have been exclusively dedicated to Nahmii, which is the scaling and interoperability protocol that we have built for the blockchain.
Okay. Now, in a nutshell, and then we'll go deeper, what is so great and special and wonderful about Nahmii?
Nahmii solves the basic problems of the blockchain technology. So it is important to know that the blockchain is not viable to do any business today because of scalability issues and some other issues. So Nahmii is a layer 2.
I'm sorry, again, we lost it. I don't know why, because we talked for about half an hour before we started recording. So Nahmii is a layer 2 solution for the Ethereum network?
Yes, correct.
And what does it do?
So it allows you to perform transactions fast with an instant finality, with no latency, and also with predictable fees. So in essence, the problem of the Ethereum blockchain is that it can only process about 12 transactions per second. So that it's impossible to create any product that it is commercially viable. So what we have done is created this layer 2 that you can use to transact fast. So it can do tens of thousands of transactions per second if that is necessary. Okay,
so is it like, this is how I understand it, right? So you got the Ethereum blockchain.
Yep.
And then you've got ERC20 tokens on top of that being moved about.
Yep.
And only 12 per second can be moved about, any 12 transactions per second. And is it that somehow Nahmii fits in between the two and provides this sort of like frictionless layer that lets the ERC20s move about real quickly, like a layer of ice, if we're going to get a bit cold
I
and
think that the analogy,
meteorological?
I think that your analogy is good. It's absolutely good, and I think you can definitely present it that way.
Yep.
So yeah, think about it as a solution that allows you to transact very fast. So we remove the limitations of the blockchain, because it might not be fully vox populi, but the Ethereum blockchain, like with any other blockchain, it is not commercially viable. So you cannot build a massive product used by millions of people today. That is the way it works, irrespective of what the media might say.
Okay, but what about why couldn't, say, a project that's built on the Ethereum network, or they could just port over to EOS or Komodo? They could just shift their tokens or their coins onto another platform. Why would they use Nahmii?
So that's an excellent question. So first of all, if you would port to EOS, you would still have a lot of limitations in terms of throughput or transactions per second. So what you should do instead is, of course, integrate with Nahmii, which should be done very easily in a painless manner. And equally important, our protocol is designed in a way that we can port it to other blockchains to then build interoperability. So the same layer of ice that you have indicated on top of the Ethereum blockchain could be extended to, for example, the Bitcoin blockchain, or could also be extended to the EOS blockchain. Therefore, you would have that single layer of ice to go from one blockchain to the other.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's something else. Because then we could have, say, Bitcoin transactions, which I think are 7 per second or something? Mm-hmm. Or is it 1 in 7 seconds?
No, it's between 5 to 9 transactions per second.
5 to 9 transactions per second. So Ethereum really isn't much faster at all, right? Mm-hmm. So then with we could, with the Nahmii network, have that as a layer on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, which allows for really fast, frictionless transactions. Oh.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Now, what else does it allow for?
That's so today allows for payments. So on the layer 2, or on the layer of ice that you have indicated, you can enable different type of transactions. So today, the transaction that is available is payments. Then over the next few weeks, we will enable another type of transaction. In this case, will be trades, which are bidirectional payments. And over the course of the next few months, we will be adding other types of transactions. For example, last Friday, I had a meeting with a company in Ålesund, which specializes on robotics and automation for the seafood industry. So they have literally tens of thousands of sensors to measure from temperature to a lot of different things. And they would like to enable a trustless provenance system to find out, or to be able to prove how the fishes have been worked with, right? How they have performed all those transactions. So they would like to save that into a blockchain, and they could easily do that in Nahmii. So we could create a new type of transaction, which is, for example, for supply chain management or provenance of goods, which would consist on saving a specific metadata to the blockchain.
Okay, so it can record the information. Again, Jacobo, we may just have to allow for this, but again, the Wi-Fi froze. I'm so sorry. You said temperature and other information? I didn't hear the word of temperature.
They might want to measure, from the temperature, or when specific or a lot of different steps that they record in the automation of handling of seafood.
Wow. Well, okay, in supply chain. All right, very good. And then, how you said about interoperability?
Yes.
So is it like, for example, it would allow a project to have the coating of ice could go over the Ethereum blockchain, over the EOS blockchain, over the Bitcoin blockchain, and then interact with projects that are based on those protocols as well?
The answer to that question is yes.
Oh, okay,
So
that's very good.
So today, that layer of ice is only built for the Ethereum blockchain.
Right.
We are planning on extending it to the Bitcoin blockchain and consequently to other blockchains. Just to be clear, the architecture of our protocol, it is generalized. So allows us to extend the layer of ice to other blockchains that support smart contracts.
Okay.
Now, the interoperability would consist on, imagine that you're using that layer of ice and you deposit 10 ETH, and I do the same and I deposit, let's say, 1 Bitcoin. Yeah. I could then potentially, if I wanted to, I could send you that 1 Bitcoin and we would perform a very fast atomic swap, and then you would receive 50 ETH in return.
Wow.
Equally, you could send me those 10 ETH, and I would receive 17 ETH at this exchange rate right now. Right. So that is actually very powerful.
Okay. And how would a project integrate this? There are some ERC20 projects that I'm thinking of. They've done their ICO, and there's one in particular, which I'm not going to name, but one of the challenges they're facing is the slow transaction times on the Ethereum network, plus the risk of bloat as the project gets bigger and bigger. So how would they use Nahmii?
Just to be clear, any project that wants to build on a blockchain today, it is going to face exactly the problem that you have discussed, that you have presented. So that is a pandemic problem. But back to your question, how can they do it? They can easily use our SDK or the API. So one of the things that we can leverage from the 20 odd years of experience we have as engineers working in the oil and gas is to develop very easy interfaces. So the people who would like to plug into Nahmii, we don't want them to have to go through 3 months of learning curve. It should have to be, very straightforward. So again, it comes as simple as integrating our SDK into their project.
Wow. Okay. Do you know, Jacob, I'm reminded of I'm just trying to think of what this could look like in 5 years, 10 years, and not just the Nahmii project, but how quickly technology moves and the solutions it solves. Like, who would have thought 20, 30 years ago that you and I would be having a conversation like this, face to face, in real time, from Norway to Britain with such high definition? It's incredible, isn't it?
If we look at 2 years ago, when we started getting heavily into blockchain, we were surrounded mainly by exclusively hype projects, right?
Yeah.
Paperware, PowerPoints, presentations, white papers written as Fiverr with a ton of buzzwords and huge marketing campaigns, but zero tangibility. Today is different. So today you have at least a handful of companies that I know of. We are included, and that handful that has actually delivered something. And what we're trying to do really or what we are doing is pushing the needle forward. Because most people, first of all, I think we need to be honest, most people get attracted to this industry because of the money they can make in little time.
Yeah.
But in reality, this industry is an absolutely green field. And by green field, I mean there is absolutely nothing there, right? So 99.999% of the potential still has to be discovered. As we know, in greenfield industries, the guys making more money at first, and maybe even sometimes in the long term, are the guys selling the shovels, right?
Yeah.
But what we have envisioned here is that the blockchain technology, first of all, is not an end; it's a mean to an end. But those ends still ought to really be discovered. So there are specific use cases that today can be implemented on Nahmii. that are kind of the low-hanging fruit. Yeah. One of them would be, for example, an exchange. I think it was 2018 that was the year where decentralized exchanges were meant to take over the world, right? And they didn't go very far. But with our technology, what you can do is build a hybrid exchange which has the best of both worlds. In one end, it's
non-custodial,
but on the other hand, it's as fast. Correct. And then on the other hand, it's as fast as a centralized exchange.
Okay.
Something else you can do is a payment solution. And we actually work here in Norway with a beautiful company called NBX that is owned by Norwegian Airlines. And NBX would like to build a payment solution for Norwegian, for Norwegian.no, for the airline company, with the sole intention to alleviate some of the hundreds of millions of dollars that they pay every year to Visa and MasterCard. So they couldn't do that on the Ethereum blockchain, because if you have 45 million travelers trying to buy and perform transactions over Ethereum with 9 transactions per second, it's not going to go very far.
Yeah. Okay. And how many transactions does the Nahmii network allow for?
So with Nahmii, we think about it differently. Instead of a single number, we think about every user of the system. So, and we count them on a per user basis or per wallet basis. So we can perform 15 transactions per wallet, but that scales. So if you have 1,000 wallets or 1,000 users, it's 15,000 transactions per second. If you have 1 million, then it's 15 million transactions per second.
Right. Okay. And each wallet could be controlled by one particular agent. I mean, I couldn't do 15 transactions from my wallet in 1 second.
No,
So
but maybe, but maybe an IoT device in a factory might want to do that, right?
Okay. All right. Now, the Nahmii network, is it open source code? Is it decentralized? Is there a central locus of control?
About 80 or 85% of the code is open source today. We have the ambition, and we have said that publicly, that we will deploy all the code open source eventually. No, it is not decentralized. Yes, it is centralized. So that layer of ice that we have spoken about, it is centralized today.
Right.
Now, the secret sauce of what we have built is that although it is centralized, it is still trustless. Meaning, when you take transactions from on-chain to off-chain, you need to trust the operator that runs them. In this case, you really don't need to trust us. You are allowed to go to an oracle if you think that we have stopped publishing the data of the transactions happening on that layer, on that centralized layer. You can go to an oracle, you can stake some tokens, and if you can actually prove that, the protocol will come to a halt and everybody will be able to withdraw their money. So we're not a non-custodial solution. We cannot steal money from anybody.
Okay. And then I can understand it being closed code, because it's proprietary material, right? And you're a business, right? Okay. Now, for people who that aren't projects, or how does it work? Because it needs to have a token.
Yes.
Or a coin. Now it doesn't have its own blockchain, so it would have a token, right?
So a few things that you have touched. First of all, it is not a blockchain. It is. We can call it a generalized state channel solution. Second, the code will be fully open eventually, hopefully soon enough. We don't care too much about the proprietary set of things, mainly because we do believe that open source is the way to go. Having said that, we are running a business for profit, and we should not be releasing everything just yet. What I would like to stress as well is that although the second layer or the ice layer, it is centralized today, we have a clear road towards decentralization, and it's mainly about decentralizing the security. So we have invited a company to become part of the foundation, the Nahmii Foundation, whereby we, Hubii, as a company, we will be granting all the IP and all the code to the foundation.
Mhm.
And the foundation members will be looking after the protocol in a way that we make sure, or they make sure that no fraud is committed. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about I suppose government access, KYC, centralized control over the Nahmii network? Is that possible?
That's a great question. So the moment we talk about building a commercially viable solution
Mhm.
on the blockchain, it means we need to give a minimum amount of control to the parties developing the solution. And you have just touched on the key word, which is crucial, the KYC word. So today you cannot apply KYC directly on the blockchain. And that is what scares banks or financial institutions or anybody touching money, any commerce. It implies that they cannot comply with the rules that they're meant to follow. The beautiful thing about a layer 2, like we have built, is that you, as a business developing a solution on Nahmii, you have control over those business rules. So you can indeed provide or apply KYC to your business rules, right? Let me give an example. So you might be a company that accepts payments or deposits from third parties, and the moment you start touching money from other people in the business world, you need to comply with some guidelines. Otherwise, you can actually go to jail. So what you can do on the layer 2 is that you can make sure that only KYC people can perform deposits in your solution, and only KYC people can actually perform transactions in your solution.
Right.
So we give that level of control to the companies. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then back to the tokens. Does the company need tokens to run the network?
Good question. And sorry, I forgot to answer it before. I knew I was forgetting something. So the token plays a key role in the protocol. The protocol could not work without the token. You might recall a couple of minutes ago, I said that the protocol is trustless, so you don't need to trust us. If you think that the operator is committing fraud, you can go to an oracle and you can stake tokens. Those tokens that you can stake are the tokens of the protocol. We couldn't use ETH or we couldn't use any of the tokens because, mainly because of the distribution. So we have created this token called the Nahmii token, which is the Nahmii token, which we are actually doing a sale now for. And the idea is to have as big distribution as possible. And that is the reason why we have the token. Yeah.
Okay. For staking with the oracle, not necessarily for running the iced layer.
No, that would be an absolutely awful idea. That would be, and again, I know some projects are doing it.
Yeah.
And all respect if they want to do it. I just think that from an economics point of view, is not very good. You shouldn't force somebody to buy your token to be able to transact on your protocol. It just doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
So no, it is not for that.
But do the companies need to pay to start using the protocol and pay with Nahmii tokens?
Nope.
Okay. So they could just so any project could just start using it. It's only when it comes to they want to access the services of the oracle that they need the Nahmii tokens.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Any other features you want to let us know about the Nahmii network?
Well, probably the biggest one today is that it's already built and it's a mainnet. And in this industry is kind of a big thing because we don't talk about something we will build next year. We're talking about something that is built already. So that is kind of, seeing is believing is a good thing.
Okay. And are there any projects that are already using it or are lined up to use it that you can tell us about?
Yes, there are a few. For example, MBX